Unfortunately, Wentz is no stranger to dealing with injuries. That dates back to his days at North Dakota State. He missed 8 games in 2015 with a broken right wrist, and since he's been in the NFL, his most significant injuries have been to his knee and back. Including the playoffs, Wentz missed 8 games with a torn ACL in 2017 and 2018, then another 5 games at the end of 2018 with a fracture in his back. We'll get more insight here from Schefter. What more can you tell us about this injury and the timeline of a recovery?
Yeah, Field, I'll go and give you the latest update right now. Carson Wentz is about to go in as we start this show to have surgery on that foot. He is having it performed in Indianapolis by the orthopedic foot doctor, Dr. David Porter, who is on the Colts staff and regarded as one of the foremost experts in this particular area. They are doing the surgery today. And initially, when we heard that Carson Wentz was hurt on Friday, the first communication that came my way was that it was a 6 to 8 week injury. And then on Saturday, it certainly sounded like surgery was the likely option, but they still were going through the options because they wanted to preserve the right in the event that he decided, you know what, I'll let this heal on his own. But all along, they never felt entirely comfortable that that was going to be the case, and that's why they opted yesterday to have the surgery today, this afternoon, and they're giving it a broad range of 5 to 12 weeks because, frankly, they don't know exactly how well and quickly the foot will heal after the surgery this afternoon. Once they get an idea of how soon it will heal, then they'll know how quickly he can come back. I think it's probably unrealistic, considering his injury history, to think that he's going to be back sooner rather than later, but I don't think it'll be much beyond the 5 weeks after that once he does come back. But these are all decisions that will be influenced by how quickly he comes back from the surgery that's about to happen as we film this show today.
Well, their season debut is 6 weeks from yesterday. For some perspective on the timeline, Dan, you are one of the few inhabitants of Carson Wentz Island still. What's your take and your reaction to all this?
Mina's got a voodoo doll of Carson Wentz. That's my reaction. I think it's important to clarify that I was scheduled to work today. I didn't just come in wearing Colts blue strictly because of this news. My first reaction is, okay, for the Colts, the biggest question is, do they believe it's closer to the 5-week time frame or the 12-week time frame? Because if it's the 5-week time frame, he's going to miss maybe a game or two. That doesn't have a tremendous amount of impact on their season, specifically with 17 games and 7 teams in the playoffs. If it's the 12-week time frame, he's going to miss 5 or 6 games, almost a third of their season, and obviously a tremendous amount of impact on their season. So they got to figure that out.
Yep.
Number 2, what does Jacob Eason look like? Their 4th-round pick out of Washington from last year. Because living in the world where they believe it's a 5 or 6 week time frame, he's going to miss 2 or 3 games. If Jacob Eason looks capable, can he be capable to go and maybe sneak out a win in that first 2 or 3 weeks? If that's the case, then you just kind of pause. You don't panic and think, I've got to go make a move for somebody. If Jacob Eason shows he's capable. If you believe he's struggling and Carson Wentz is going to be closer to that 12-week time frame, then you've got a situation where you're starting to have conversations in your building. But it all depends on the Colts asking the question and being honest. Do I think it's closer to 5 or do I think it's closer to 12?
Yeah, that is a very difficult question because of all the uncertainty and also because, as you said, Dan, they've got to make a decision right now. What are we going to do with our roster? Are we going to pursue a trade? And as you said, the necessity to do that is contingent on how long Carson Wentz is going to be out.
Yeah.
As far as Eason goes, so watching him in college, big arm, one of the biggest arms probably in the NFL. Dude's got a cannon. He's athletic. But the reason why he was taken in the 4th round is because he was a raw prospect. He's toolsy but raw. Had to work on his processing, intermediate accuracy, touch. He's a developmental prospect. And frankly, this is not a team that can afford to start a developmental quarterback because it's a team that should be contending for the division. Without Wentz, this is a team that has the best defense, I think, in the AFC South. Incredible offensive line, decent weapons, very good coaching staff. It would be a shame if they were not able to eke out a few wins in Wentz's absence. And I think they have to be honest with themselves about what they have in Eason right now because they're going to have to make a decision as to, okay, how do we address this hole in the roster? And can he actually get us over that hump? I'm not so sure.
Well, and Mina, keep in mind, a lot of people talking about what are the possible options, who are the potential replacements. And everybody seems to be drawn to the name Nick Foles because Chicago has Andy Dalton and Justin Fields on its roster. It doesn't really need Nick Foles. Nick Foles has $9 million in guaranteed money due the next 2 years. So far, there haven't been any conversations that have gone on between the Bears and Colts. The Colts have had the chance the last couple of years to make a run at Nick Foles, and I think both sides have danced around it. Neither side has moved forward with it. And as one person said today, if the Colts were to do that, they really wonder how Carson Wentz would react emotionally to that. So I don't know that the Nick Foles option is a viable one right now. Now, again, let's see how he's healing. Let's see how he comes back. I think with Carson Wentz's injury history, it's probably unrealistic to think he'll be back for the opener.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.